Hello, it's what everyone has been looking forward to, the new review guide for the upcoming assessment you guys will be taking. So if you haven't read the big bolded letters yet, it is your worst fears come true. No calculators allowed. That's right, you have to do math using that big thing in your head called a brain. So with that said, there's nothing too bad in the front part of it. It's just some algebra, distributing, adding, subtracting. Getting on later with the graphing, that's where you have to do the actual memorizing of things you have to do, thinking about what you have to do, kind of stuff. But let's go ahead, and in this first video we'll just go through 1 through 4 on the front of how to solve for x, or n it looks like, or p down there, whatever. In the directions, it says to show all work or no credit. So obviously we are going to be showing work. Solve each rational equation and check your solutions. So that's the thing where sometimes you'll get an answer, but if you plug it in, it won't work. Double check for any extraneous solutions. I already said that. So, okay. Going on to number 1 then. We are going to be solving for n. So there's 2 things you could do. You could start algebra right now. Another thing you could do is find out what extraneous solutions would be. That is to say, if you were to look at n plus 5, n plus 5 cannot be 0, because anything that would make the bottom 0 just can't happen, which means n is not allowed to be -5. If we solve this problem and we get -5 as an answer, it's going to be no solution. Same thing here with +1. If n is 1, then 1 minus 1 is 0, and you can't divide by 0. So n minus 1 can't be 0, which means if you add 1 to both sides, n can't be 0. So if at the end we get, I don't know why I said 0. If at the end we get either of these 2 numbers, it's no solution. Okay, that said, let's go ahead and write everything with a denominator. Since this is just a 1, it's a 1 over 1. You can't factor these, so I'm just going to put them in parentheses. So this has an n plus 5, this does not, and this does not. So you need to get a common denominator in these problems. All 3 things have to have a common denominator. So since this has an n plus 5, this middle one's going to need an n plus 5, and this one over here is going to need an n plus 5. And anytime you do it to the bottom, you got to do it to the top as well. Like so. So they all have n plus 5. 1, don't have to worry about that. N minus 1. This one has an n minus 1, but this does not have an n minus 1, so we'll put 1. This does not have an n minus 1, so I'll put 1. Like so. So now they both have n minus 1 and n plus 5 on the bottom. And up top, I'm just going to rewrite this. I'm going to put the 2 in front of the parentheses because I know I'm going to have to distribute later. Equal sign, n minus 1, n plus 5, plus sign, 1 times n plus 5. So that's just the tops right here. We'll distribute the 1 in a second. Everything just gets brought down right here. The bottoms, though, since the bottoms are the same, you don't really have to worry about them anymore, because it should make sense that if the bottoms are the same, then the tops have to be the same, since it does have an equal sign. If the bottoms are equal, then the tops have to be equal. So I'm just going to go from here and do some algebra. Distribute this 2, and you'll get 2n minus 2. Over here, if you distribute this 1, you're going to get n plus 5. I just wanted to get that out of the way before we FOIL this one, because it is 2 terms times 2 terms. So n times n is n squared. N times 5 is 5n. -1 times 5 is -n. And -1 times 5 is -5. So combining like terms, you'll get n squared. Looks like these will just cancel, so plus 5n. And then minus 5 and plus 5 also cancel. That's convenient, I think. So we get this. There's an n squared and an n, which causes trouble. You cannot just solve for n because of that. So it looks like we're going to have to get everything on the same side so it's equal to 0 and then factor it. So I'll subtract 2n to get rid of that. I'll add 2 to get rid of that, so it's equal to 0. Then 5n minus 2n is 3n, and then there's this plus 2 right here. All right, and if you know where we're going with this, great. If you don't know where we're going with this, then it's a good thing you're watching this review video, aren't you? We are going to factor this. This is factorable. So what two numbers will multiply to 2 and add up to 3? Luckily, there's only one thing that multiplies to 2, and that's 1 and 2. So n plus 1, n plus 2 equals 0. Finally, solve for n. We'll set these equal to 0. Oops, n plus 5 equals 0. So you get n equals -1 and n equals -5. Okay, so like I said, that's what we get. But if you zoom out a little bit more to some of this work I set up here, you might recall, you might not. If you don't recall, it's a good thing I wrote it down. N cannot equal -5, and we just got n equals -5. So I'm just going to cross this out because that was an extraneous solution. Here it said n couldn't be +1, but here it just said we got -1, so that's a-okay. Our answer is -1. Boom. Number 2. You can't factor anything, so I'll just put it in parentheses. You once again have to get a common denominator. This is an n plus 1. This is not an n plus 1, so I'll add an n plus 1 on top and bottom. This is 1 minus x. This is not 1 minus x, so I'll add a 1 minus x on top and bottom. And I like adding it there, so I'm going to. So you'll have -5 times 1 minus x equals 3 times 1 plus x. So hopefully that makes sense, seeing it there. Just doing it top and bottom, top and bottom. The bottoms are the same, so you can ignore them. So if you distribute, -5 plus 5x is 3 plus 3x. There you go. So just distributing. Subtract 3x from both sides. Like, solving from here is regular. There's nothing super special going on. So I'll just kind of go through it. How's your day going? Doing all right? Hope so. Hope these videos help. You get 4. I think 4 is okay. I didn't do the thingy up here where I checked to see if it was okay, so I guess I'll do it now. 1 plus 4 is not equal to 0, which is good. 1 minus 4 is not equal to 0, so it's good. Yep, plugging in 4 does not make the bottom 0. Next. Oh boy, it looks like this one is actually factorable in the bottom. This is just over 1, kind of like in the first problem. This has a GCF of something. See if you can figure out what it is. This is just an x, so there's nothing to do. Okay, so do you know what the GCF is? It does have a 2 in common. It also has an x in common, so the GCF is 2x. When you pull out a 2x, do you know what is left over? From here, take out a 2x from an x. 2x squared is just an x. Divide this by 2x, you get -2. Boom. Okay. So similar as before, since this is just over 1, it's missing literally everything, so you got to put everything here, top and bottom. This has everything already. This one has the x already, but not the 2 or the x minus 2. So you have to add in the 2 and the x minus 2. So it'll be 2x, x minus 2. Which means this thing has to have a 2 in front of it and an x minus 2 on the top. Which isn't as annoying at all, right? Right? Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is annoying. Okay, so up here, we have this 2 and that 2. If you multiply them, you get 4. So So we got 4x, x minus 2, equals 7 plus, and then 2, x minus 3, x minus 2. And what do we do at the bottom? Nothing. Doesn't matter anymore. Well, technically it doesn't matter. Remember that there are numbers that maybe would make this 0, and hopefully this won't be that. We'll find out. All right, from here, it's a bunch of annoying algebra. We'll distribute this. Get 4x squared minus 8x. Here you would get, just distribute the 2 into the first parenthesis, not the second one. So you'll get 2x minus 6, x minus 2, and then we're going to have to FOIL this. If you need to rewind, you can, to find, because I'm going to go kind of fast, just because you guys have a pause button and you can use it if you feel like it. But the rest of this is just kind of algebra for the part. I'm going to make sure I did that right. Yeah, okay. Here, combine like terms. So we got a 2x squared. Let's see, this is a 7 and a 12. Here's a negative 4x and negative 6x is negative 10x. Plus 19 equals 4x squared minus 8x. Okay, just like in the previous problem, there's x squareds and x's, so you have to get them all on the same side. So I'm just going to move everything over here. Subtract 2x squared plus 10x, and then minus 19. So I'm just doing this all in one go to cancel it all out. So 4x squared minus 2x squared is 2x squared. Negative 8x plus 10x is 2x. Then there's this minus 19 going on there. All right. So in order to factor this, if it's factorable, is to do 2 times 19 is negative 38. So we'll see if anything multiplies negative 38 and adds up to 2. As far as I know, there's not. So that means I'd have to use the quadratic formula, which is negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Unless, of course, I made a mistake up top, but who knows? Too late to turn back now. Doo-rah. Let's see, so b is 2, so I'll have negative 2 plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is 4, minus 4 times a times c, all over 2 times a, which is 4. So negative 2 plus or minus square root. I really don't feel like doing all that off the top of my head, so I'm going to... Oh, wait, that's right. No calculator allowed. Okay, I won't cheat then. Okay, so let's see. 19 times 2 is 38. And 38 times 4, that'll be 32. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 plus 3 is 15. Negative times negative is positive, so this is a plus. So 4 plus, this thing is 156 over 4. And I don't know if you can simplify 156. I'm going to try to make a number tree. If I do 2, then it's going to go into it 78. 2 goes into it 39, I believe. So 2 root 39. 2 root 39 with the plus or minus in front, with the negative b in front, with the over 4. Having fun yet? So you can simplify since all of these are divisible by 2, and you get negative 1 plus or minus square root of 39 over 2. All right, cool. There you go. Easy peasy, right? Yeah, okay. One more, we'll call it quits for now. Same thing, this is like it's over 1. can't factor, can't factor. Luckily, these two are the same. So all that needs is this one in the middle, AP plus 2. And now that they're the same, it'll say P equals 3P plus 2 minus sign 9. Oh, thank goodness, this is going to be an easy problem. 3P plus 6 minus 9, which is 3P minus 3. Next up, we'll get P on the same side. Subtract 3P. Get negative 2P equals negative 3. Divide by negative 2. And we get P equals positive 3/2, which will not make the bottom 0, so it works. Okay, there we go. That is the front page, just like that. Have a good one.